I've got a question for you guys. Have you noticed that automation seems to be taking over everything? I mean, I've been frustrated for a while at these self-checkout lines when I go to just about any store. I refuse to use them personally because every time I see these computers, I just see somebody's job that's gone away. And it really started annoying me when my bank, and I'm not going to mention which one, although I'd really like to lambaste
Chase?
them. Yeah.
You didn't say no.
I didn't. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they started replacing the people inside the bank with more ATMs. Here's the thought, Chase. If I wanted to use the ATM, I would have gone to the one that was outside the building. I didn't need another one inside.
Yeah, and they've been creeping in slowly.
Yeah, I know.
You just, by the way, admitted that it was Chase.
Yeah, well.
Because they had ATMs outside, then they had that little room between the bank and the outside where they stuck the ATMs with the door you had to slide your card to
the
get
airlock,
into.
yeah.
And then you had to go past that into the bank, and now you've got more ATMs inside the inside.
Yeah.
So you've got
I believe
outside.
it's called a vestibule.
And is that what they... Thanks, Todd. I appreciate that. And it's frustrating because the branch that I go to, there's now only one individual at a window. And there's a bank of these ATMs, which are supposed to be more sophisticated than your regular ATM. It can do more transactions. You know what? If I wanted to do business with my GPS, I'd just do that. And the thing that kills me is that you walk into the bank, and there's like 4 of these automated tellers and 1 live person, and a whole line of people going back to the door for this 1 live person, and nobody's using those stupid ATMs.
That's because they don't want you there at all.
Yeah, they really don't.
They really don't. And that's one thing you got to credit BofA. Actually, most banks do it now where you have an ATM-only account. You set foot in this bank, we will escort you out and show you where the ATM is.
Don't get me started with the Bank of Evil, because I went in there. I stopped doing business with them years and years ago when I was still in college, when they created this wonderful account that said if I did my business in the bank, anything that could be done at ATM, but I wanted to go in and talk to a live person for, they would charge me a $7 fee for each thing I did. So it's like if I walked in and said hi, that was an instant $7 charge. And then if I said I want to make a withdrawal, oh, that's another $7. Oh, and I also need to make a deposit. Oh, that's $21 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I dumped them.
Divine Artist says that's because they only want face-to-face with business people who have a lot of money.
Yeah, here's the funny thing about the bank. They've got a great racket going because I put my money in, then they reinvest it and start making money off of my money. And then they charge me for access to my money. Oh, you want your money back? Oh, that's going to be a fee.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, they feed you a piddly 0.5% on your savings account.
But they do have the free water at the door.
But believe it or not, I didn't bring this up.
That water's not going to pay for itself.
Yeah, that's true.
With a twist of lemon.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that the one
who
with
here's old enough to remember when you would go in and open a checking account and you would actually get a toaster or something? Now you go in and open a checking account and they tell you, oh, that's going to be a $45 fee.
Yeah, you go in and open a checking account and you're getting toasted.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but I didn't actually bring this up just to rip on the banks, although it's easy and it's fun. But what really killed me was that just the other day I walked into a McDonald's and now they have self-ordering ATM machines there.
I mean,
you knew they were going to be the first ones to do it, though.
You see,
and they're probably not the first, but you knew they'd be the first major.
Companies making their whole business model off of things like this, like Redbox. They don't have employees.
No, that's true.
Customer-facing employees.
But
I'm
you know
sure
what?
Somebody's got to go refill the DVDs or something like that. That's one guy that serves the whole San Gabriel Valley.
It's funny. That whole system came into being without people in it. So I'm not so irritated about that. I mean,
that's why I've never used a Redbox.
I walk in.
But how can you not be irritated? Because that entire system replaced an industry.
Did it?
You've never seen a Blockbuster.
Wait. I was going to say,
I have children that have no idea what Blockbuster is. Yes,
did
Blockbuster
Redbox do that, or did the cable companies do that with on demand?
It wasn't the cable because on demand is suffering right now. Netflix was the final nail in the coffin, but Redbox
on demand is suffering because let's look at this. Let's do the math right here. If I want to sit in my living room and just hit the on demand button for a movie, it's going to cost me $3.50 for standard def. Don't go for high def. That's going to add another $1.50 to the price tag. Whereas I can go down to the Redbox and I can get it for what, $1.50 a night? Less than half.
Yeah, but then you have to go take it back.
Yeah, but you know
wants
what?
to
If
do
I can
that?
save $3, I'll do that.
Or
If
you
on
could just
demand-
pirate it on the internet.
If the on-demand people would actually come to their senses and try to become competitive in the price range, I would just click the button. No questions asked.
Yeah. Well, give it another month or two, and you're going to be able to get first-run movies on your on-demand.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, did you guys hear that Disney has decided that there's no point in them putting their material on Netflix
Oh, yeah.
anymore? They're going to start their own streaming service.
They're not the first ones, though.
Yeah, there's
They're
no
totally
point.
they're
in
definitely
that.
not the first.
They're not
But
getting a big enough cut.
They have such a lot. Well, seriously, why should they be handing over cuts if Netflix and Amazon and Google and everybody is getting into the act of producing their own programming? I mean, because HBO did this a long time ago. If they're doing their own programming, why should Disney be handing them cuts of their programming? Why not just start their own streaming service? I mean, it actually makes perfect sense. It's one of the few times what Disney's done is actually making sense.
I think Disney and HBO are probably the two ones that could pull it off because they actually create content people want to see. You could also throw in maybe AMC with things like The Walking Dead. If they went that route, they've got some shows that are real high value that people might actually want to see. But Hulu did the same thing. I don't personally subscribe to any of them. I do borrow a couple of other people's account. It's a family. We could do that. Okay. And they have you have to pay per device or for the number of devices. So theoretically, it's still getting paid for. But
Divine Artist says, next we're going to have robot local boys. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah, seriously, can you imagine robots of us?
Ain't fooling nobody. You've been a robot for 20 years. What are you talking about?
That could be. Does anybody? Am I the only one?
I think you're the
in
only
the
one
room
because
that is
I got to be
actually
honest with you. I prefer to go through the automated things at the grocery store because some people suck, and I don't want to deal with them.
You know what? I agree that there are some, but see that speaks to another issue that we have because we are going to this whole automated society. We don't have any expectation of customer service anymore, so they'll take anybody and stick them up
I
there.
don't know. I think that the expectation went away a long time ago, and that automation is more welcome as a result.
Here's a bigger. You love conspiracy theories, so here's one for you to chew on. I actually think they go out of their way to hire the slowest people they can and put them at the checkout stations to convince people and encourage them to go and do it themselves.
Well, I don't know that that's the case. I think they just hire the people they can get for the cheapest, and when somebody's working for that kind of money, they're not going to really bust their chops trying to make another dollar for the local mega mart.
Well,